Giving thanks is a universal expression of gratitude for love, family, life itself. In this program, we will hear from some newer Minnesotans about how they celebrate their families, their communities, their struggles, and their cultural heritage through spoken word poetry, recorded at the United Theological Seminary, a live performance taped at Thrivent Financial, and a series of portraits sharing traditions of gratitude.
Giving Thanks in Many Voices is a co-production of United Theological Seminary, Thrivent Financial, and Twin Cities PBS.
See, we left the familiar to trek into the unknown, heard so many stories, had to leave the throne. Home of the free, equal opportunities, soar high like those who flew before me. Leave the simple kingdom and start a new beginning, ready for smiling faces, open arms embrace us. Ready for smiling faces, open arms embrace us. But they got us singing the blues, red, white carpet, celebrity meeting you. If had only we knew, no sun rays blocked off by the building tops, green grass too few, leave your native tongue tied, time to learn the new. Yeah, I learn what you gotta say, you ain't gotta learn mine. I learn your wrongs and rights and live life in disguise, but every minute I'm here, I hear the angels cry. And they keep calling me to come home. Yeah, they keep calling me to come home. See, opportunity knocks, open up or we bust in the door. Stop what you think and meditate on the floor. Innocent no more. Everyday life's a struggle. Gardening's a chore, traded in for a factory. The good life seemed like it was just yesterday. They all looking at me like I'm no human being. I'm a laugh away from the pasture that seemed so green. An ocean away, hidden seam I had a place. Now in a foreign land, I seem to have no say. Stay out of my sight. Living it by the knife, the art, the culture's only way to survive. Raggedy cloth Andy, standing out by the sideline, once was a king, no longer even a jester. Uncle Sam's welcome turned to Uncle Fester's. A gesture of love, a gesture of pity, doesn't describe this life living inside the city, so I sing to my brethren, take it in as a lesson. You'll get pushed, pulled, torn in every direction, but stand strong, hold your head up and aim high. It's the love that we carry, the reason we didn't die. It's the hidden inner beauty, they'll never take us alive.
Today I am in the Midtown Global Market, a place well known for its diverse representation of cultures here in Minnesota. As you'll see in these profiles, shared meals and preparing traditional foods are common ways of expressing thanks across cultures and families. In this story, we will hear from some members of the Sikh Punjabi community here in Minnesota. Every week after their Sunday service, volunteers serve a warm meal to the public as part of their safa, or selfless service, making sure that no one leaves hungry.
We're just having a picnic to get everyone together and away from the temple, and on a Saturday, it's very hot and humid.
We're trying to bring all youngsters and old people and everyone in our community. Basically, Minnesota Punjabi Society takes care of all the cultural activities of our Sikh community, including education and heritage and continuing education and those kind of stuff. So we try to maintain all our Sikh heritage.
I one just like yours, but mine doesn't have this and the number. Yeah, it's Torrey Hunter. Besides, mine is bigger than yours. He's a professional baseball player. I like baseball a lot. I don't remember when I first started playing. My favorite team is the Atlanta Braves. Mine is Minnesota Twins since we live in Minnesota.
I came from India like back in 1996. So I've been here almost 20 years now. So this is my home. But I also bring a lot of family values and cultural values that I grew up with. So having him learn that, but as well as at the same time learn the dynamics of the culture here, I mean, you get the best of both worlds.
It's kind of hard to miss someone who was wearing a turban, I think. But at the same time, I think a lot of people get us confused. They don't know like what this religion is, and it's hard to place us, I feel like. So yeah, it is marginalized, but it's true with any other community.
Your physical appearance, your identity is different from everybody else. So you do get a lot of questions that are being asked, or if somebody sees a person wearing a turban like me. But overall, it's a great experience. I think Minnesota is one of the best states where people are very pleasant. They are accepting.
I think it's a fine line that I walk. I have to like respect and be a part of my culture, but I'm also very much American. So you have to watch and balance your both sides. Like on Sundays wear, the traditional clothes. I wouldn't go to my temple wearing this.
Our Gurdwara is in Bloomington here on the intersection of 35W and 90th Street. I would like to welcome people so that they visit us and get to experience or get to know who we are and what we do and what are our values and how can we help each other basically. Plus there's a community meal every Friday evening and Sunday afternoons, which are part of the religious service.
It's a very, very important cause for us. No one should ever go from the temple hungry, ever, no matter if you're a millionaire or poor, doesn't matter.
Like first we make like all the vegetables to serve to the community, and then after we prepare the chapatis made with the flour. So in the Sangat, it doesn't matter, it's a girls, boys, or like rich people or poor, it's open to everybody.
And there are the people who do the seva, the free service, who distributes. They come and they get the buckets and the chapati.
Guru tells you that if you do selfless service, you will be closer to God. So such service could be preparing, distributing. And here everybody is welcome. There is no matter whether you believe in this religion or not. You are as welcome as God made us equal.
If nothing else, just come and have some free, nicely Indian cooked vegetarian meal. Oh, it's delicious.
We're at Bollywood Dancing in Twin Cities. We've been teaching Bollywood dancing for 3 years at Tapestry Folk Dance Center. That happens every Thursdays from 7 to 8:30. The dance style is called Bhangra, from the state of Punjab, that is north of India. The drop-in class for everybody from all age groups to all skill levels. We are a non-profit organization, and we're here to spread the awareness of Indian community and culture through dancing.
Cedar Riverside and Carmel Square are known to be central locations to the Somali community. But one of my favorite places to eat and spend time is the halal market in Eden Prairie. There are many such places around the metro that offer solace and a slice of familiarity to families missing homes far away. For the Oromo community, Lake Nokomis closely mirrors the place in Ethiopia, or Oromia, where they celebrate their tradition, Iraicha, or Thanksgiving festival.
Originally, I'm from East Africa, my country called by the name Oromia, under colony of Ethiopia. There is a lot of Oromo people live here in Minnesota, and more than 40,000 Oromos live in here, Twin City. Minnesota is the second country of Oromo, or we call small Oromia.
The
Oromo are very peaceful, accommodative, inclusive people. They are a population that likes to live in harmony with all creatures and all human beings, and especially before it was occupied.
Oromo is the largest people in Ethiopia. More than like 50 million people live in Ethiopia. They are all under colony of Ethiopia. Oromo people lost their power and everything more than 130 years ago. They can't participate with any kind of political power, culture, and language. They are all dominated. The minority people on a power, they don't want to share any kind of political power with Oromo people. Because of that, most of Oromo people, they left their country because of political situation.
I have been at peace since I've been here. I have been here for about a year. I was the chairperson of a cultural organization representing many different social groups. Because I have been the leader of a very large community, the population has grievances, and sometimes they rise up and they always accuse me of agitating these people. And when I speak up, they put me in jail several times, took away my property, and put a lot of pressure on me, forcing me to flee my country. I lost everything.
When I was in my country, I was a high school teacher. I teach Oromo language in high school, at the Shashamane High School. And there is a Tigray government, and they don't want Oromo people to participate what they believe.
This government is in power for 25 years, and I was jailed 14 times. I faced a lot of torture. You can see it from my leg. You know, my case is similar to many other Oromos who have faced the same fate. Where I'm staying right now, he provided me with what I eat and a place to stay, and I've been living in peace. This is the way of the Oromo. The Oromo used to treat strangers with such kindness, and what Nuguse did for me, the favor he did for me, reminds me of how things were.
Recha is the biggest Oromo holiday. When the darkest and the rainiest season of winter is going away, Oromo people come together and they say, thanks to God, you saved us and brought us to this bright season. That's the meaning of Recha.
The Oromo comes out in a place of water or to high mountains and gives thanks to the God who created all these things.
When you arrive where the holiday is taking place, you just cut the grass, the tall one, not the short, put together and hold it, and you drop that grass to the river or to the lake and put like 2-3 times and spread it up, and like you spread it up for God. Thank you, God, for keeping us safe and take us to the next season. And they drop all those grains there, and that is the end of Erecha. And after that, food, drink, dance, and everything is going on after that. It's a really nice holiday, and that is, we call here Oromo Thanksgiving.
Food stamps in my pockets, $2 worth of now and later's green saliva couldn't swallow quick enough. Standing nervous, red light on Dale Street, cross the bridge over Highway 94, tracking back to St. Albans. Candy wrappers clenched tight, I waved goodbye to Tiger Jack. 2. Every Friday, Bit opens the screen door and announces, Palmala, Palmala. All afternoon we've waited. And in my father's tan Isuzu truck, we drove to Hudson. Mom buys lottery tickets for her, bags of Funyuns and giant Slurpees for us. My brother Bit likes the blue ones. They stain his tongue so good he makes a point to show me every time. On the ride home, Mom spends imaginary millions in out loud daydreams. And blue lips smiling, my brother Bit tells me that we are like kings in Dad Goat's chariot. I agreed. 3. Bowl haircuts, red handle scissors. 4. Holding my Korean blanket rolled under my arms, Dad carried trash bags, everything he owned, slung over his shoulders. My tiny feet tired from walking 12 blocks to our new home. Stopping every other, he asks me, Ila, yang da ba? Looking up, forcing a smile, doi, ipa. 5. 692 North, St. Paul. 250 Oxford Street, St. Paul. 308 North St. Albans, St. Paul. 3634 15th Avenue South, Minneapolis. 6. Mani itun, Bit says. I follow him to his first grade classroom, passing cubbies, watercolor family portraits, and a big picture of Jesus Christ. He lifts up the lid of his school desk, number 2 pencils, bite marks, color crayons, and boxes of sun-made raisins. He hands me one, smiles, shows his teeth. 7. I interrupted my class one afternoon, returned from an ESL session. Mr. Smith made everyone read out loud, stopping when they wanted to. No one ever reads more than 3 sentences from the K. They giggled and snickered on my turn. That day, I read 3 chapters without stopping to breathe. The snickering, ridiculing, and ESL sessions stopped after that. 8. The art of haggling with among grandmothers at the farmer's market is not for the meek-minded. 9. I killed my father's lawn one summer with my blue plastic pool, fresh out the bag Disney underwear, and bare-chested, grass blades speckled my feet and ankles. I watched as the grinning crocodile begins to swim, hidden sometimes by the sun's reflection, until water spills tiny waterfalls over the brim. 10. Hand-me-down jeans, ripped and dirtied at the knee, working in cucumber fields, picking the ones only as big as my 5-year-old hands, or my parents won't get paid.
East Street or Nicollet Avenue and Lake Street are also locally known for their expansive menus from all around the world. We will see in this next piece how the family of youth violinist Israel Sadio Pacheco integrates recipes from Mexico into their family's traditions here.
My favorite thing about the violin is that if I try to, I can get out any song I want to. So like if there's a song that I hear on the radio, then all I have to do is listen to it constantly, and then I can start playing it on the violin.
He has a lot of goals. He has a lot of things that he wants to do it, and we say, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's not limited for nobody.
So my mom's always told me that if I ever give up on something in life, then it'll be easier to give up the next time, and then the next time. Since I was little, she's always told me, once you start something, don't leave it until you're finished.
When you're growing and you understand, you will say, Mom, Daddy, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And he understands, and he said, yeah, it's better to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, I am from Morelos, Mexico. It's a state of South Mexico. It's, I can say, not like Minnesota. It's very hot over there.
I've never really been to Mexico, but my parents have told me a lot of stories about what it was like to be in Mexico, what their life was growing up, what they liked to do.
In Mexico, I was working. My mom, she was very sick for a long, long time, and always whatever money that my daddy make was for her.
Even though they weren't the wealthiest of families, they still managed, and my dad had 8 brothers, and 8 brothers and sisters, and so did my mom, so they had a big family.
Now I'm happy because I can give more opportunities to my kids. You have like 2 nationalities, like they Mexicans and they Americans, but we always say you can do things like American, but always see what is better for you.
I think it's great because it opens some doors for some new opportunities. Like if I had American parents, then it would be a little different at home, and when speaking to my cousins, I always speak in Spanish, and then at school, and when talking to friends from school, I talk in English.
And we say, if we teaching to the generation the same thing, the generation, they're gonna make good decisions, and they're gonna get good life.
My favorite thing on Thanksgiving, I don't really have a favorite for Thanksgiving.
If we do the turkey, we always make something, a Mexican turkey. I can say we got American tradition too, but always meats.
We normally have a Mexican recipe that's chicken, but it's like with a spicy peanut seasoning. To be honest, I like it, but I don't like eating it too much.
Nopales, cactus. Now I hear Mexico celebrate to Thanksgiving. They, on the same time when we celebrate Thanksgiving, they doing a celebration too. Now I'm happy because I can give more opportunities to my kids, but I always talking with my kids about that too. We don't say thank you only when we got good things. We always say thank you too when something hard happen, because I can say everything happened for something. And I'm very thankful to God for everything that God. If He asks me, "You want the same life that before?" I can say yes, because that made me the person that I am now.
Maintaining a cultural identity despite distance and adversity can be challenging for any immigrant community. For the Karen people, generations of forced migrations have led to practices such as the wrist-tying ceremony and dung dance to unite their community and teach future generations about who they are. The Karen Cultural Organization recently hosted the first U.S. dung dance competition here in Minnesota, in addition to their annual wrist-tying ceremony, as you're about to see.
This traditional Karen wrist tying ceremony, like long time ago, is our ancestry. They keep it our Karen people to come together and celebrate, like families and family far apart from the family, go to war or something. Once a year they come back and they celebrate this, like they tie their wrist, calling spirit, something, wishing for the luck. First thing, they will pull down the string because they take out the bad luck. Second time they pull up, call for the spirit and wish for the hope for the good luck, and then they tie the good luck and put it up on the head, because in our community the head is the most important part, so we put on top of the head for the good luck. In my view, I see a lot of different ethnic groups people don't know because they didn't show anything. They grow up here, they speak English, they become English, sometimes they change their name to English. The dance, I think most people know us by the dance that we show.
Because of the civil war in Burma, because of that kind of stuff, our Karen people, they can write their own language, they can read their own language. So in order to maintain that, they create a poem. And by creating Don't Dance, some people compose a song for the Don't Dance about the history of Karen people.
The dance and the song is our ancestors used to educate the kid and give a lesson to the kid, because they don't have letter, alphabet, something like that. By the song, they educate it step by step. our traditional food they call takapu in Korean talapot. It's made from the bamboo. They add some meat if they want, and with a rice pounder. Traditionally, my favorite veggie and fish bake. That's the most traditional food. Like every Korean eat fish bake. It's fish, but they make it like smell, sting, something. They make it. Korean eat stinky food.
I'm the president of Korean Cultural Organization of Minnesota. It is a very new nonprofit organization. Its mission is to preserve and celebrate Korean culture and celebrate Korean traditional events.
We started Korean Cultural Organization in 2008. We welcome everybody. We try to explain them about our tradition, educate them, like culture and religion are different.
So everything's going well. It's going a lot better than what I expected today. So I'm so excited. Even though you can see through my eyes, I was so tired. I didn't sleep for a couple of days, but I'm still so happy because things going very well.
You see, she stands 3 feet tall, and our adventures include climbing Mount Everest all the way up her bunk bed. We use trains as our mode of transportation into our make-believe world, make couch cushions and blankets be our fortress. We make up words like acha batuba. Except, she can't say tuba just yet. So she pronounces it as tuga, which brings a smile on my face knowing that she acknowledges the duality of her flint tongue. We practice rolling our r's, our colors in Espanol because language means culture. Tickle her sister because it's a fun thing to do. We hide and seek for new adventures and look for each other when life gets hard. I never thought I would have 3 of my best friends living under my roof. I never thought I'd be so happy with less, but she is my living proof. So we construct Lego inequities that only make sense to her, stack dominoes into mansions like quadratic equations. We color circles, squares, triangles, and we call it family. We dance to the beat of our heartbeats into the rhythm of a snare drum. We recite lyrics and make her magic wand be the microphone. She says she's a waterbender, and I, her last airbender. We Hadouken our way through the strife and embrace each other so we can taste life. I tell her I love her and that I miss her, even though she hasn't left my side. And she says, I know. And that's when I bow down to her innocence. Make a promise to protect it by any means necessary. With my pen and my machete of a tongue, I will show no mercy for those who stand in her way. Will make the massacres at the hand of the conquistadores look like soap bubbles. I will fight for her until she tells me she's a big girl. Then I will let go and try to find where I hid my innocence, hoping and waiting that she still wants to be a ladybug.
In addition to the Karen, Hmong, Somali, and Oromo, Minnesota is home to one of the largest Liberian populations as well. We will see how the Seward family celebrates their own Thanksgiving tradition. Next, Olivia Seward and her daughter, Lois Castle, shared their love and talent for gospel music with us earlier at our performance.
Yeah, you are my joy when I wake up in the morning. Yes, you are in the heat of the day. You are my joy, cool of the evening, middle of the night. Yes, you are when I wake up in the morning. And I come into your presence, you're there with so much joy. Oh, yes, you are, and in the heat of the day. day. Your joy never ceases. It goes on and flows on forever and ever. Yeah, you are my joy. When I wake up in the morning, you are my joy. In the heat of the day, you are my joy.
People never fail to mention, wow, do you know how good your mom can sing? Sometimes I feel like the roles are reversed and I'm the proud mother looking at their child on stage, you know, and when I see her sing, when I see her minister and everyone's, you know, raising their hands and tears are coming down, I'm like, yep, that's my mom.
To be sitting down and looking at my wife ministering to people from different backgrounds. I'm just sitting down like, go ahead, girl, just do your thing.
Olivia has been a gospel artist, I want to say, from her mother's womb. I know her family. Her uncle was the president of the Baptist convention in Liberia that I was a part of. And so eventually when her family moved here, she became a member of the church, Ebenezer Community Church, that I pastored.
What inspired me to start writing was my life experience leaving from my homeland, not just because I wanted to go and visit somewhere else, but leaving as a result of war.
My mom never really explained everything wrong that went on.
It was a very scary situation because I had to flee for my life. It rained bullets. I could not, if I were talking to you like this, at that time you wouldn't hear anything I would be saying because of the sound of the bullets. And that morning when we had to leave, I just had a little bag, like this bag here, or this bag, with clothes. I couldn't take anything other than that, just a dress and a skirt, and and that was it.
I know when I got a little bit older, when I came here, a lot of the Liberians, the older Liberians that I was surrounded with, talked about the Liberian War, and that's when I kind of annoyed the heck out of my mom to tell me more about it.
When I was leaving, my prayer was that, Lord, help me so when I get over, I can find a church, a family, where I can continue doing what I have been doing. And it all turned out right, because the first Sunday I entered the first church here in Minnesota, I was called up to sing. And I have been continuing to write new songs. I have 2 albums up, and so it continues.
For me, there's a real difference between performing and ministering. Performing is where you go on and you put on a show for everybody, and everyone claps, and everyone's like, that was beautiful, that was brilliant. And ministering to me is when you're able to touch somebody. Even though she wasn't speaking words, the dancing and the movement that she made really touched my heart. It made me look at my situation, the problem that I'm going through, in a different light. And that to me is ministering. And performing and ministering, they kind of go hand in hand. Ministering takes it to another level.
So amazing and love so divine. Oh, what love, what an amazing love. Oh, love, beyond my fault and all my failures. Oh, what love, laying down your all for me. I could never repay you for all that you have done, but here I lay on the altar. Set me ablaze, Lord. Let me be a living sacrifice as you were for me. I count this world's gain as loss, for nothing compares to knowing you. Oh, what love. amazing love, beyond my faults and failures.
Somewhere in the history of our nation, the leaders felt that they should set aside a day to give thanks to God for establishing the country, Liberia. We came to the United States and we realized that they do have Thanksgiving Day as well. It's a little bit different from ours, but we have become assimilated into this culture with the turkey and, the stuffing and the gravy and the collard greens.
I think our Thanksgiving is kind of way more party-ish than most, not in a bad way, but there's a lot more celebrating. There's a lot of people that come in from out of town who come to just have fun. Usually we have like a huge setup of food, of ham, of lettuce, of all this food.
We have a dish called jollof rice. It's almost like fried rice, but this one we have ham hock in it and sausage.
I don't know why this is for almost every party that we have. The kids go in one corner, and I'm usually in charge of babysitting them as the older one. And then all the adults kind of sit around, and after we give thanks and we eat, they lecture. It's really fun to hear everybody.
Thanksgiving Day is just one of those days that kind of like remind us of where we are from. And most of the talk that we have is all about how are we going to go back home to Liberia? We're talking about political issues sometimes, talking about the church. We just kind of like talk, and sometimes we forget that time is gone.
Amazing love.
Some of the families we featured have relocated to Minnesota as a result of violence, persecution, or forced displacement. Others, like myself, have immigrated with the hopes of increased opportunity and freedom of expression for themselves and their children. We cannot hear these stories of immigration and giving thanks without extending gratitude to the American Indian communities who were displaced and nearly eradicated over the course of American history. We say thank you or Wopira, especially to the Dakota people here in Minnesota. This is the theme of Chunk Moa's poem, Dear Minnesota.
Dear Minnesota, hello, my name is Nsong. My family first arrived to the U.S. in January of 1985, 10 years after the Vietnam War. To my people, an undisclosed American history, we know it as the Secret War. The lives of my people, the Hmong people, are part of that 10-year secret. I was just 2 years old. We were quickly assimilated to Catholic life in Wisconsin. At home, I was never Hmong enough. Outside, I would never be American enough. Conflict rose as my parents fought to keep our traditions and culture alive. My siblings and I, we fought back, consumed by the American ways of life. As a young foreign girl, I often felt shame. I often felt pain, all of which I could not explain. The Hmong and Minnesota Native people share a history of imprisonment, torture, starvation, and forced assimilation. It's a miracle we are even alive. Survive, survival, survive, struggle. Dear Minnesota, and more importantly, its Native people, if home is where the heart is, I must be heartless. How dare I find home in a land of 10,000 stolen acres, in a land that holds the record of the largest mass execution known to American history, here in Minnesota. Dear Native people of Minnesota, I share your pain. We, the Hmong people, share your tears. And it is with great sincerity that we can even be here, also homelandless, just trying to survive, just trying to stay alive. It may be mere coincidence that Dakota also means ally, for it is your taken homeland that I now reside. And like you, we have never seen land to belong to any one single man. And so today, I thank you, shamefully, in sharing this land with me, in sharing this land with my family, for we are also searching for a place to call home. I apologize that it took Minnesota 40 years for the Hmong to be recognized, and the Dakotas 150 for meeting in a land of 10,000 refugees. Dear future Minnesota, I dream of a land of 10,000 accessible lakes, of 10,000 genuine smiles and helping hands, creating and building 10,000 homes and communities. Dear future Minnesota, if home is where the heart is, I dream of 10,000 hearts and 10,000 more. A land, a place where anyone can find home. Sincerely, Chang Mo.
I escaped when I was really young, along with my parents, along with His Holiness Dalai Lama and 100,000 Tibetans at the time. And then I came here in 1986, and I organized to a new location, Tibetans from India, Nepal, and now we have 3,000 Tibetans live in Twin Cities. In Tibet, we have many instruments we play. Tibetan singing bowl, which is for purpose of meditation, to balance your thoughts and emotion and meditate through the sound. This flute, what I'm playing, melody is my own composed to remember my homeland, Tibet. We were happy to preserve our culture and our beliefs, including the learning the Western way of living. So we are doing very well.
My name is Taylor Broom. My Ojibwe name is Minomesh Kikiikwe, good medicine woman.
My name is Machbiazi Provincial, and it translates to yellow cloud in the Lakota language.
Well, it is really interesting being in a Native couple where there are two different tribes. A lot of people would just think, oh, you're both Native, you know, you must just agree on everything. But there are quite a few differences in the Lakota culture and the Ojibwe culture.
Being Lakota and growing up here in Minnesota had its many challenges because there's a small Lakota population here in the Twin Cities. It's easy to just ask a Dakota person or a Ojibwe person, you know, about a Lakota person, but you know, they don't tell you much other than, yeah, you're from the West, you know. It's extremely hard trying to learn from a book and videos and movies and things like that because I wanted to talk to other Lakota people, you know, that actually knew something about who we were.
We both put tobacco out at the beginning of every morning, using sage and the different medicines. That's very similar, but culturally our ceremonies are very different. My grandparents, like, their histories are of a boarding school era, and so they lost a lot of, you know, their culture that way. I'm the first generation in my family who didn't have to deal with the, you know, ramifications of colonization. And so this is really the first generation in our family that we can go ahead and celebrate, you know, who we are as a Native people and bring some of our culture back, you know, because it wasn't until 1970 something that we could even practice our culture out, you know, in the open again. My daughter is 5 months old now, and we really made it a point in her life to include our traditional ways from the time that she was born.
Like, I'm kind of creating just something that I learned, and something that I can teach my kids and, you know, my family in the future.
Our bodies are so sacred to us because it's the one thing that we were actually given to own. As Native people, you know, we're taught that we don't actually own anything. We're just here visiting this earth before we go back to the spirit world. So it's important to feed our bodies good medicine, good food. I try to cook a lot of traditional foods in my house, so I'm going to be making a wild rice meatball that's made with elk meat. And I'm going to make some wujapi to go with it. Wujapi is a sweet berry sauce. The Lakota people used choke cherries to make it. However, because we're here in Minnesota, I will make my Ojibwe rendition using some berries. And then I also have potatoes and some smoked fish. Smoked whitefish is very popular to eat. It's delicious.
At nighttime for dinner, my mother should prepare our meals, and she would usually give me a small plate of each of the different foods that we were eating that night, and she would put it on a small little dish, tell me to go outside, face the west, you say a prayer, and then put it by a tree, and then leave it there overnight.
Pretty much every Native culture has the idea of putting out a spirit plate, because our ancestors, you know, they come back to us throughout the day and they bring us messages, and it's so important that we feed them and we give them offerings for everything that they have brought to us.
I was about 10 or 11 years old, and we had a big Thanksgiving at my grandmother's house. Said, hey, happy Thanksgiving, you know, and my auntie said, well, no, originally we didn't celebrate this holiday. And she asked me, why would you celebrate a holiday that expresses gratitude for taking another people's land and colonization and, you know, forcing you to follow another person's tradition for, you know?
It's really hard in the modern day with celebrating Thanksgiving, because of course the children learn about it in school and they learn that it's a time that, you know, your family's together to give thanks. But really the basis of who we are as a people is that you should be giving thanks every day. We are in a melting pot now, and there's a lot of good that comes from every single culture. I think that it's important, though, to remember who you are and what your people went through to bring you to where you are today. And part of that is giving thanks, you know, every day.
We are in Eden Prairie Halal Market. This is the only place we have, the only Somali restaurant / halal we have in Eden Prairie. And the food is really good. I mean, it's pretty modest. You know, it's a very simple little place, but the food is really good. Oh, wow, look at that. This is basmati rice, and this is, what is this, spinach? Spinach with cabbage, and this is goat meat. This is special sauce, and it's called shigni. So usually, you'll find most Somalis use their hands to eat. So the trick is mixing everything and making like the perfect bite. Food does not taste the same. You can see the difference between me and my girls. I'm using my hands and they're They're pretty comfortable using the fork and the spoon.
They love goat meat a lot. The language that they speak other than Somali, they also speak Italian, Arabic, and English.
We just had Eid al-Adha, which is when Muslims go to Mecca. And then we have the Somali celebration. It's like June 26th, which is when northern Somalia became independent from the British. And then July 1st, which is when the southern Somalia got their independence from the Italian. Do you need help, Sophia? No? On the behalf of my family and all the families, thank you for watching. Mahat Sanit.
Giving Thanks in Many Voices is a co-production of United Theological Seminary, Thrivent Financial, and Twin Cities PBS.